Stan Mitten, a wealthy Los Angeles real estate agent, lives a seemingly perfect life with his wife, Mindy. However, his fraudulent property dealings lead to his arrest for first-degree fraud. Facing a 3-year prison sentence, Stan's lawyer delays his incarceration by 6 months through a staged charity event. With his assets frozen, fleeing to Brazil, as suggested by his lawyer, is impossible. As his surrender date nears, Stan becomes anxious. During a tense date, Mindy suggests having a child for comfort, but Stan, fearing an uncertain future, dismisses the idea, creating a rift between them. Distraught, he visits a bar, seeking survival advice from an ex-convict. The man warns Stan of the harsh realities of prison life and suggests joining a clique for protection. Horrified, Stan resolves to prepare himself. Over 6 months, Stan transforms. He exercises, gets a protective tattoo, and enrolls in martial arts classes. However, his impatience causes conflicts, forcing him to quit. Despite setbacks, Stan clings to hope, determined to face his sentence as a stronger person. On the brink of despair, he meets an eccentric old man known as the Master, and the Master begins an unconventional training program. The first day starts with the Master waking Stan at 5 a.m. by pouring a bucket of cold liquid on him. He insists that Mindy prepare an unusual protein smoothie for Stan. The training becomes increasingly bizarre and challenging. The Master uses sticks, creates extreme conditions, and introduces Stan to exotic foods. Mindy grows more and more frustrated with the Master's odd habits and demands. Eventually, she gives Stan an ultimatum. Either the Master leaves, or she does. She packs her bags, telling Stan she can't stay with him anymore, and leaves. He believes Stan's training can now intensify without distractions. Over the next 5 months, Stan undergoes rigorous training sessions. Over time, he surprises the Master by showing remarkable improvement in his skills. As a final test, Stan returns to the karate dojo that had previously asked him to leave. This time, he easily demonstrates his skills, impressing even the skeptical instructor. With his training complete, Stan feels prepared to face the challenges ahead. On the day of his sentencing, the Master and Stan's lawyer accompany him to court. Mindy, although distant, secretly watches from her car as Stan enters the courthouse. After his sentencing, Stan is transported to a facility on a bus. During the ride, another individual tries to invade his personal space, but Stan confidently asserts his boundaries, showcasing his newfound strength. Upon arrival, the new arrivals are greeted by Warden Gask, who addresses them with calm authority. He advises them to follow the rules and avoid causing issues for the staff. The reality of confinement sinks in for Stan during the intake process, which includes a detailed security inspection. When it's Stan's turn, the staff notices the intentional modifications he made to deter unwanted attention, leaving a strong impression. Stan is then assigned to a cell where he meets his roommate, Larry. Right away, Stan establishes his preferences by claiming the top bunk. Larry, understanding Stan's confidence, explains the dynamics of the facility. He describes various groups, including a crew with strong camaraderie, a group of intellectuals who enjoy discussing academic topics, and others who keep to themselves. Larry also mentions Big Raymond, a dominant figure known for his imposing presence. It doesn't take long for Stan to witness Big Raymond asserting himself. Determined to make an impression, Stan boldly confronts him in front of others, using the skills he learned from the Master. Stan's actions gain respect from many, but they also attract attention from influential groups. One such group, led by Patterson, invites Stan to join them, but Stan declines and demonstrates his independence. Shortly after, Stan is approached by another group, but his light-hearted attempt at humor during their conversation is misunderstood, leading to tension. Despite this, Stan handles the situation calmly and diffuses any potential conflict through his assertiveness and composure. His actions quickly earn him a reputation, and others begin referring to him as Big Stan. His presence becomes so commanding that people instinctively give him space wherever he goes. One day, Robbie, a younger individual whom Stan had previously supported, approaches him to express gratitude. Stan, however, modestly downplays his role, insisting that he was simply standing up for himself. Later, Stan is summoned by Warden Gask, who reveals that Stan's placement in the facility wasn't random. The warden has plans to redevelop the property and needs Stan's expertise as a real estate professional to review documentation. In exchange, Gask offers to reduce Stan's sentence to just 1 year. Intrigued, Stan agrees to assist, though the warden remains vague about how he plans to relocate the current residents. Meanwhile, some of the groups within the facility decide to unite and challenge Stan, feeling threatened by his growing influence. One day, reaffirming his position, the incident further solidifies Stan's reputation as someone not to be underestimated. His determination and resilience continue to inspire both respect and curiosity among those around him. Stan, always prepared, pulls out nunchaku he made from soap bars and a shoelace and uses his training to quickly subdue Patterson, leaving him injured and sent to the infirmary. Missing his wife, Stan contacts his lawyer to ask if she sent him divorce papers. To his relief, she hasn't. Feeling a renewed sense of hope, Stan begins working on the warden's project. During this time, he is introduced to Dang, a former Vietnamese mafia member turned politician who is Gask's partner in a scheme to sabotage the prison. While working, Stan overhears Gask and Dang discussing their plan. They intend to provoke inmate violence, forcing the guards to intervene, creating grounds for the prison board to shut down the facility. This would allow Gask to take over the land for his personal project. Shocked by the severity of their plan, Stan feels responsible for protecting the inmates, even though many of them resent him. Determined to act, Stan organizes a meeting with the inmates to set new rules and boundaries. First, he bans all violent video games and movies, calling them harmful influences. Then, he declares that any form of harassment or violence is strictly forbidden, warning that anyone guilty of such acts will answer directly to him. The inmates initially push back, but Stan encourages them to explore positive and respectful relationships instead. Although the idea seems unusual to them, they grudgingly agree. During lunch, Robbie and a few inmates thank Stan for implementing the no-violence rule. Stan brushes off their gratitude, claiming it's just about maintaining control, but Robbie sees through his tough exterior. He recognizes that Stan genuinely cares about the well-being of the inmates. Even Big Raymond, once feared as the block's most dangerous figure, finds himself in a positive relationship under Stan's guidance, becoming part of Stan's growing circle of allies. Shortly after, Stan receives a letter from Mindy responding to his apology. She expresses her willingness to visit him, giving Stan hope for reconciliation. Over the next few days, the prison begins to change. Conflicts are resolved peacefully, and inmates frequently seek Stan's advice. Slowly but surely, the atmosphere in the prison shifts into one of unexpected harmony. Gask accuses him of sabotaging their plan to destabilize the prison. Gask issues a chilling threat, warning that Dang will act against Stan if he doesn't follow their orders. The next day, Stan consults his lawyer, who advises him to cooperate with Gask, explaining that the warden holds significant power. Feeling defeated, Stan announces to the inmates that their problems are no longer his concern and tells them to return to their old ways. The harmony Stan built quickly unravels as fights break out, undoing all his progress. Robbie approaches Stan in the cafeteria, hoping to talk some sense into him. Instead, Stan rudely throws Robbie's plate and tells him to leave. Even Larry, Stan's cellmate, is visibly disappointed by his behavior. When Larry tries to walk away, Stan stops him and warns him to stay clear of the metal fence at noon. Sensing that Stan is under duress, Larry informs the other inmates, and they begin to plan a response together. Warden Gask arranges a meeting between Stan and the parole board to discuss Stan's potential early release. While Stan is occupied with the board, Gask leads the prison's board of governors on a tour of the facility, advancing his plan. Stan's journey takes a critical turn as Warden Gask sets his plan into motion at noon, aiming to create unrest among the inmates near the fence. However, he is confronted on the way by D. Stan manages to overcome D and continues to the yard. When Stan arrives, the inmates have already gathered near the fence, appearing ready for confrontation. Just as tensions escalate and the guards prepare to intervene, the inmates surprise everyone by breaking into a coordinated dance to a lively song. The unexpected performance stuns the guards, the board members, and the onlookers, leaving Gask visibly furious. Frustrated and unable to control the situation, Gask fires his weapon into the air, alarming the prison board. Witnessing his unprofessional behavior, the board decides to take immediate action against him. Before Gask can turn his frustration on Stan, Mindy arrives. It is revealed that she has spent the past 6 months training with the master, learning advanced techniques. With her newly acquired skills, she steps in to protect Stan, ensuring his safety. The story jumps 3 years into the future, as Stan has completed his time in prison and is ready to return home. His fellow inmates gather to see him off, with even Patterson, once his rival, showing respect. In a heartfelt moment, Patterson reveals a tattoo of Stan's face on his stomach, a tribute to the man who changed the prison environment. Outside the gates, Mindy and the master wait for Stan. To his surprise and delight, Mindy introduces him to their 3-year-old daughter. The emotional reunion marks the beginning of a new chapter for Stan and his family, filled with hope, love, and optimism for the future.